Hello, I'm Brian Laddie. This week's assignment pretty much comes down to one basic question. Where will education be 10 years from now? And I think it's a very interesting question to consider because if we were to look back 10 years and see where education was then and compare it to where we are today, we would see a great deal of advancement and change. And I believe that the next 10 years will bring even more change and even more advancement towards learner-centered education, as we can only hope that the focus will become more and more on the individual student. When we talk about instructional settings and modalities, it's important to keep in mind that technology such as the internet, mobile devices, can bring a world of information to any individual at the touch of a button. And that's any individual in an urban area, rural, really any part of the world. So the focus of education is not on acquiring knowledge, because knowledge can be easily accessed with the click of a button. The focus of education is becoming, and will continue to become in the next 10 years, on developing the skills that those individuals need to be able to use that information for their benefit. Education should be focused on developing skills that individuals need in their professional, their personal, or in their civic life to be good citizens in their community. And I believe that education in the next 10 years will even continue to move closer and closer to that ideal of true student-centered education. I do believe that in 10 years, there will be an even larger focus on distance learning with things like the University of Phoenix and other colleges and universities that focus on delivering instruction to students wherever they are, not bringing the students to them, but taking the education to the students. And I think we'll continue to see that focus shift down to the secondary and the primary level. For example, in the state of Pennsylvania, there's an online school where students as young as kindergarten can enroll in school, and that is their only schooling. They don't go to a physical school, they go to school online. I think as technology advances and becomes more accessible to all people, I believe we will see a greater focus on the individual learning at a pace that works for them on a time frame that works for them. And that's, I think, where the main shift will come in the next 10 years. The modalities and the setting in which instruction is delivered will be very much focused on the individual. It's not going to be some cookie cutter curriculum where people say on day 22 we should be in this point and on day 46 we should be in this point, but it should be a curriculum that's developed with the instructor and the student working collaboratively to establish goals and a method by which to achieve those goals. So when we talk about who and what influences the content of courses, I strongly believe that ultimately it's the student. The best instructors are the ones who identify with the students, that talk to them, that communicate with them to find out what their goals of the education are and tailor the course to meet those students' goals. So, the focus should wholly be on the individual who is being educated, not some other factor. So we identify that the focus should be on students. What will those students be learning in the future? I believe the key is on skill development. Like I said previously, there's a world of information that's out there that anyone can access at a moment's notice, but do they have the skills that they need in order to develop them? One of my references for this week is McKeown and Licala, who talk about the idea of meta skills. And meta skills are skills that are needed to develop other skills. So if we can develop in our students, and again, this is from the primary to the secondary, post-secondary to adult education, if we develop in our students these meta skills, comprehension, critical thinking, application, they will use those skills to develop other skills they need in order to be successful. I also believe that as we go towards the future, and my second resource is Harsh and Mallory also agree with this, is that there needs to be, and there will continue to be, a greater focus on education for the future. That the focus of education is not on developing students to be successful in the world that exists right now, but the focus should be on developing students who are going to be successful in the world 20, 30, 40 years from now. So the focus is not on today's job market or today's world, but the world of the future and what students need to be successful in that world. So how this all relates to instructional design is that teachers, those who are developing the instructional design, need to focus on the future, keep an eye to the future, and keep an eye on the students that they have now. Develop courses that incorporate the students' goals, and in some cases you have courses where there's several different students, but you need to incorporate what are the goals of those students in that course, and how can you as the instructor facilitate them getting to where they need to be. We cannot simply fall back and say, well, this is the way things have always been done, so this is the way I'm going to do it. We need to keep an eye to the future, develop skills, and focus on the students in order to have all of them be successful. Thank you very much.